Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, Open Innovation, How to Find the Right Startups to Collaborate With. First of all, we will introduce ourselves. My name is Tatiana, and I'm a Senior Entrepreneurship Researcher at Skopai.
And my name is Mahmoud Gerd. I'm an Innovation Analyst at Skopai.
This webinar will last about 40 minutes, and it will discuss the following topics. First, we will define open innovation, and we will talk about advantages of and obstacles to open innovation. Then I will present different open innovation programs developed by companies. And finally, we will show data-driven innovation scouting and how to find startups using Skopai platform that is based on big data and artificial intelligence. And we will finish with answers to your questions. You can always write your questions at any time during the presentation, during the webinar. And after our presentation, we will answer your questions. And we have devoted a specific session and time for that. We will also send the slides to you by the email so that you have it and can come back to them whenever you want. So let's start with our first topic, and what is open innovation and what are its main characteristics? Open innovation is now in the spotlight in the business environment. And when we hear the notion open innovation, we refer to the process that is based on sharing and collaboration. The use of the term open innovation has been promoted particularly by Henry Chesbrough, who defined it as a paradigm that assumes that firms can and should use external ideas as well as internal ideas and external and internal paths to market in order to advance their technology. So in this understanding of open innovation, the key is sharing and using external knowledge as well as making use of internal information outside. On this slide, you see two graphs. The left graph presents the closed innovation model, and on the right, you can see the open innovation model. In the closed innovation model, all projects and intellectual property is developed internally and kept within the company boundaries until the new products are released on the market. In contrast, in open innovation models, firms use external technologies and knowledge in order to improve their internal innovation process. And firms can also commercialize internal innovations through, for example, licensing or spin-offs. There are six main principles of open innovation. The first one is where are the smart people? Whereas closed innovation assumes that smart people in the field work for the company, open innovation assumes that not all smart people work for the company and it should find the knowledge outside the company. The second principle is about profiting from research and development. In closed innovation model, to profit from R&D, firms should discover, develop the innovations itself, while in the open innovation model, external R&D can create a significant value. The third principle is value of original discoveries. In closed innovation supposes that firm discovers that if firm discovers it itself, it will get it to the market first. And in open innovation, the firm doesn't have to originate the research in order to profit from it. The next principle is first mover advantage. Closed innovation aims to get an innovation to the market first, while open innovation suggests that building a better business model is better than getting to the market first. The fifth principle is from ideas to profit. In closed innovation model, the firms aim to create the most and the best ideas in the industry, while in open innovation model, they aim to take the best use of external and internal ideas. And finally, the last principle is the role of intellectual property. Closed innovation focuses on control of IP so that competitors don't profit from their ideas. While open innovation focuses on profit from others' use of IP, and also it buys others' IP when it advances its business model. There are two main types of open innovation. Inbound open innovation and outbound open innovation. In the first type, inbound, it means that companies should not rely entirely on their own research, but buy and license inventions from other companies. So in other words, it is an outside-in process when the ideas and innovations are coming outside the company. The second type, or outbound type, it's an opposite process when internal inventions that are not used inside the company, they're taking outside the company through, for example, spin-offs or licensing. And this process we can call an inside-out process. There is also a coupled process when the company can mix inbound and outbound open innovation. Now, after discussing what open innovation is, let's move to why implement open innovation in the company and talk about the advantages of open innovation and obstacles to it. There are 5 main reasons to develop open innovation. First of all, it gives the opportunity for lucrative partnership because companies can access higher volume and more diverse resources, which are otherwise not available in the company. Another reason is accelerated time to market. Companies can react more quickly to new technologies and market requirements. The third reason is that open innovation allows to cut down innovation budget because rather than innovating from scratch, companies can use external resources and skills. Open innovation also allows to increase market share and profitability because products are launched on the market faster, which increases revenue. And finally, the final advantage of open innovation is related to risk management. As risk is shared across participating groups, companies don't bear all risk in case of emergencies. Despite the benefits of open innovation, there are several reasons why company may fail on open innovation. This can happen, for example, when proper business reasons for engaging with open innovation are not identified, or when open innovation initiatives are simply copied from the competitors. It can also happen when employees, customers, or partners do not fully understand what open innovation means to a company, or when various organizational units are not aligned with open innovation. The other risk factors include, for example, when executives don't tolerate risk of losing control, or when there is no good person to succeed with open innovation. Also, it is important to have and to develop the internal innovation process first in order to benefit from open innovation. And finally, focus on own gains rather than developing a win-win scenario can also lead to a failure on open innovation. There are several skills to succeed in open innovation. First of all, it's introspective skills, which is to understand the company itself, its strategic insights, its skills. It is also extrospective skills, which is to understand the partners. including behavior analysis or strategic insights to understand the fit with the partner strategies. Firms should also develop interactive skills such as communication or collaboration and negotiation. And technical skills are also important to understand the principles of technology, to manage portfolio, to set the budget, as well as to evaluate risks. Now let's move to our third part, to a presentation of different open innovation programs developed by companies. On these slides, you can see open innovation in practice, the adoption of supportive open innovation practices in advanced and emerging organizations. These are the results of the study conducted by Economist Impact, the Open Innovation Barometer. And it is based on the experts' interviews and on a survey with 500 senior executives from different countries. On this graph, you can see that the advanced organizations indicated in dark blue color, they adopt more open innovation practices compared to emerging organizations. These practices include, for example, the team dedicated to open innovation and open source innovation software, the procedures that guide and evaluate open innovation activities, open innovation platforms, and established licensing or intellectual property management systems that support innovation projects. Among different innovation partners, here you can see the most common innovation partners, which include the service providers, suppliers, customers, industrial companies, universities, startups, organizations from other industries, and government organizations. In general, there are 4 ways to do open innovation. The first one is startup support structures, such as incubators and accelerators that can be created by large companies, institutions, universities, or investment funds. Another way to do open innovation is to organize competition. This way allows organization to have an inexpensive access to a large quantity of innovative ideas and to select the best idea from the applicants. The third way to do open innovation is to establish the collaborative projects with different partners, and this allows to set up a common development program, for example, in research and development field. And the last way is ad hoc networks, which are more informal collaboration between different partners. I will now give some examples of open innovation programs developed by companies. And the first example, as you can see in this slide, is a STAP accelerator, which was launched in 2018 and dedicated to semiconductor startups based in 4 countries: Israel, Italy, France, and Poland. The accelerator aims to select companies that fit select startups, innovative companies that fit the goal of ST Microelectronics, and it aims to foster the long-term collaborations with these companies. Another example is Samsung Startup Innovation Incubation Program. Similarly, this program is specifically designed for startups to collaborate with Samsung and to bring innovative ideas to realization. There are several benefits that Samsung provides to startups, including funding, mentorships, and potential partnerships in order to co-develop products together. Another example is L'Oreal with different types of open innovation programs. For example, it develops open innovation by setting up partnerships with startups, incubators, accelerators, and investment funds, by organizing digital tech and beauty events. It also has launched a corporate venture fund to support innovative startups. And the last example I would like to share with you is the EDF group that has also developed a set of open innovation programs. For example, EDF Pulse Ventures, Incubation, Factory Design, and Connect that are directed towards creation partnerships with innovative companies, but also supporting innovation within the company. The group has also launched the Startup Awards to support startups that propose innovation to achieve carbon neutrality. In order to develop open innovation programs and to find the best startups to collaborate with, a challenge is to navigate into large amounts of data and information every day. This makes it impossible to cut through the noise manually, and manual research becomes insufficient and increasingly expensive. That is why that is where data-driven startup scouting comes in, which is based on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data. And it allows to identify the most relevant startups and scale-ups that match the corporate strategy, and to significantly speed up innovation scouting and deliver relevant results, as well as to be able to update information on startups that are very dynamic on a regular basis. Now I would like to give a floor to Mahmoud, who will show one of the tools of data-driven innovation scouting. He will present Skopai platform and show how it can help companies in their open innovation projects.
Thank you, Tatiana, for your interesting presentation. And thank you for showing how important open innovation can be for companies, so that they get exposed to different markets and new technologies. So as Tatiana mentioned, I'll be showing how Skopai platform can support the companies and can help their clients in order to start an open innovation program, and how the clients and the users can make use of Skopai platform in order to help them during their open innovation program process. So the first to start with is, what is Skopai? So Skopai is an AI-based platform that provides a comprehensive and in-depth view of all startups, scale-ups, and innovative companies worldwide, according to a specific criteria. So in order to successfully launch or start an open innovation program, we have defined 4 main steps that needs to be followed during the whole process. So the first step is to define the need, or to define the question that you need to answer for, or to define the problem that you need to solve. Once you have a clear idea of the problem that you have or the question that you need to answer, you will be able to go through the second step, which is to build a landscape of potential targets. This landscape will help you get more exposed and get more information about the market or the technology you're exploring, and you will be able to pick some of the startups within this landscape and to perform deeper analysis on these startups, so that you would be able to go to the 4th step and to pick a winner, or the startup that you would want to collaborate or partner with in the future. So now I'll go on and show you how Skopai platform can be used to be in open innovation programs, and how it can support and it can accompany companies or clients through the 4 steps. So this is Skopai platform homepage. This is where you get as soon as you log in using your Skopai credentials. As we can see here on the top of the screen, we have the search bar. This is where you can start exploring our database, which includes more than 150,000 startups worldwide. And this is also where you can start the first step of the Open Innovation Program, which is to define the need. This search bar, you can always combine any keywords, tags, any keywords that represents technologies, that represents markets, that is of any representation of whatever the criteria you might be looking at. And on the left side of the screen, we have the filters bar, and this is where you can filter the startups or the landscape, so that you can get more narrowed down results and more relevant results to your criteria. So as I mentioned, that this is where you can start the first step. And when you start exploring our database, you combining some keywords here, you will have an idea, and you will start to explore the new technologies in different markets, and you will have an idea what market or what technology could answer your need. And then we can go to the second step, which is to build a landscape of the potential targets. So and that's what I'll be showing now. So here I'll be showing a landscape that is called energy landscape. This landscape includes the startups that operate in the energy industry. As we can see here, that we have 4,809 results, and this could be a kind of broad. So as I mentioned, you always have the ability to filter using the left bar, or the filters bar on the left side. So let's say that you are focusing more in Europe or in the European startups. So this way you can press here, and we see that you get more narrowed down results and more relevant ones to what you're looking for. You have the ability also to filter by many other filters. You can filter by business model, maturity, founding date, and so on. Let's say that you're focusing on startups that operate in a B2B business model. You'll just need to press here, and then you get the companies that are relevant to your criteria. And also, as I mentioned, on the top of the screen, we have the search bar. This is where you can precisely use any keywords or tags to narrow down your search in order to get more relevant results. So let's say battery could be relevant to this landscape, to the energy landscape, and this will bring the startups, all the startups that have the battery tag attached to them. And as we can see here, that we get a lot more narrowed down and relevant searches to what we are looking for. So so this is how this is what the landscape is, and you can keep doing that until you get the most narrowed down search to your criteria. So Skopai also offers some interesting and collaborative features where you can use in order to collaborate with your team. As usually in open innovation programs, it's not only one person who works alone. It's usually a team, or even more than a team. So Skopai offers these interesting features where you can use to collaborate efficiently with the rest of the teams or with your colleagues. So here you have the option to export the results in an Excel file. You have the option to add a startup in case you know of a specific startup that you couldn't find in your landscape. You always have the ability to add the startup. You just need to add the startup name, the country, the website, and press send. And this way we get a notification, and we directly add the startup to your landscape. On the right side here, we have the save button. That's where you can save your search query. Instead of every time going to Skopai platform, you have to apply the same filters. You can just save these filters so that whenever you come back, you can load them, and then you directly get the results that you are looking for. The share button gives the possibility to share the page with the filters that are performed already, in order to share it with a colleague, in order to share it with another team, and so on. So these are some of the interesting features that Skopai provides, and there are also, beside these features, there are also multiple views where you can view your the startups within your landscapes. So the one we are at now is the list view, and this is how we see now the startups are listed on the landscape. There is also the card view, and it provides the same information from the outside of the landscape about all the startups, but it shows the startups more in a card format or in a card view. So this all depends on the user's preference. There are multiple other views. There is the table view, which I personally find very interesting, as it shows the startups in a table format. And the interesting thing is that all the columns of this table are customizable. So you can, let's say you want to see the tags that are attached to each of the startups within your landscape. So you just need to press here, press apply, and this way you get a tags column where you can find all the tags attached to your startups within this column. So here you can find the tags that are attached to all of the startups, to each of the startups within this column. And as we can see that we always have the battery tag here, as we've already filtered by battery tag. So another interesting view is the map view, and this shows the distribution or the geographic distribution of the startups within your landscape. Well, since we filtered by Europe, so all of the startups that we have in our landscape or in our searching criteria now are in Europe. The interesting thing is that the more you zoom in or out, the more details you get about the distribution or the geographic distribution of your landscape or of the startups within your landscape. The final view that we have, finally we have the analytics view. And this also I find very, very interesting, as it doesn't show the details about each of the startups within the landscape, but it more gives a general or an overview or a general idea about all the startups combined within the landscape. So here we have some pre-made charts, such as the word cloud representing the importance of tags. So as we see that the bigger the tag is, the more it represents, the more startups it represents within the landscape. There are also a couple of pre-made charts, such as the distribution of startups by country, by business model, and so on. There are some pre-made charts where you can explore and where you can find interesting. Also, the very interesting thing is that all these charts are customizable. So you always have the ability to edit one of these charts or to remove it. There is also the option to add a new startup in case you couldn't find, to add a new chart in case you couldn't find the chart you're looking for here. You can always add the startup by either pressing, if it's one of these, you can directly press here and you get the chart done for you, or you always have the ability to customize your own chart. So you will need to give a chart title. You will need to pick an x-axis, let's say the country, and a y-axis, let's say the fundraising, and then you will need to choose the operation, let's say the count, and this way you get a chart that is customized according to your criteria. You get the count of fundraising events in each of the countries within the landscape. Then you can just save the chart, and this way you always have it on your analytics tab. Whenever you come back to the analytics tab, you have it saved to your tab. So these are the features, or these are the different views where you can view your or to have a general idea or to have an overview of your landscape. And as I mentioned, there are some collaborative tools, very interesting ones that Skopai provides, such as the favorite, marking startup as a favorite. So this is where if you find a startup that you find a startup that you think very interesting or very relevant to what you're looking for, you can always mark it as a favorite. Then you would be able to filter by favorite startups, and you will be able to find all the startups you marked as favorites. There is also the like and dislike buttons, and these are very important to our AI tool, which we call Alfred, as this is how the Alfred or the AI tool understands the relevancy of the startups within your landscapes and keep growing your landscape with more relevant results. You always have also the ability to compare the startup with another. So you need to press on this button here for this startup, and if you want to compare it with this one, you press here, and then you get to compare the startups. You have the ability also to share this startup with a colleague, as I said, in order to be able to work more efficiently as a team. So this was to show you how Skopai can accompany you through the second step, which is to build a landscape of your potential targets. And this is also another thing is to show is when you press at any of these startups, you get to the at a glance page, or what we call the at a glance page. And this is where you can find the information about the startup you're looking at. So on the left side of the screen, we have some of the basic information, like the startup logo, the labels, if you've got some, the stage, structure type, country, and so on. And if you scroll down a bit, you get the information about the website, the contact information, and the head office or the headquarters of the startup. On the body page, you have a bit more of information about each of the company's aspects. You get information about the short description, the timeline of the events that took place within the startup, information about the founders, market, industry, purpose, product, technology, and so on. And scrolling down a bit, you can see here we have the readiness level or the maturity level of each of the three aspects: the investment, the market, the technology, and so on. And on the right side of the screen, as we can see that the media footprint, and this is where you can just press at any of these icons, and it takes you directly to the social network of the startup. Scrolling down a bit more, we get to the similar startups, and this is where you can find similar startups to the ones you're looking at. And here on the top right of the screen, we can see these are the same tools or collaborative tools that I showed from outside or from the list view of the landscape. You can also apply the same tools from within any of these startups. You can just add a label. You have the ability to add a private label where you only can see the label, and you also have the ability to share a label within your team. You also, from here, you have the ability to add the startup as a favorite or to mark it as a favorite. In case you find that this startup is irrelevant to what you're looking at, to your landscape, and you don't want to see it anymore, you always have the ability to hide the startup. The PDF icon, it gives the opportunity or the ability to download the information of the startups as a PDF file, and also this could be very interesting to share the information with the teams you're working with or with your teammates. Also, you can always compare this startup or share it with other colleagues. So this was the second step of the Open Innovation Program, and this was to show you how Skopai can accompany you through the second step. After having the landscape, you will have a clear idea, and after checking all the startups within the landscape, you will have a clear idea of the technology you're exploring, and you will be more you will have a lot more information about the industry, and you will be able to pick some of the startups where you can choose some of the startups that you think that they are the most relevant to what you're looking for, and you can go through the third step and perform deeper analysis on these startups. And that's also something very interesting that Skopai offers, which we call the Deep Tech Insights, or the DTIs. So a DTI is the same as any other startup as the ones I showed, but it has a lot more of information about each of the companies or startups aspects, or each of the categories of the startup. So here on this tab, the at a glance one, that's where you find that all of the startups within your landscape. That's where you get the same amount of information for all the startups. But along with this at a glance tab, you have some other tabs, such as the team and network tab. And this is where you get a lot more information about each of the company's aspects, like the founders, executives, advisory board size, team competences, partnerships, investors, and so on. The market and competition tab, it gives all the information about the market where the startup is operating at. And if the startup is operating in more than one market, you will be able to find all the markets with all the information that you might need to have here on this tab. And there is also some information about the competitors of the startup and some similar startups to the one you are looking at. Product and technology tab, it shows the detailed information about each of the product or service the startup provides, and of course it explains the technology of the startup and also lists the patents and the intellectual properties the startup might have. The finance tab, that's where you can find or see all the financial information about the company, and this is where you can find information such as the share capital, the turnover, the fundraising events, and so on. The timeline tab shows all the events that took place within the startup since its creation until today. So this is where you can explore the history of your startup since the creation until today. And finally, the Deep Tech Insights tab, and this is the rating that is given by our analyst team according to researching this startup and its market and the technology and so on. And this is also how Skopai can accompany their users on their third step of the Open Innovation Program, which is to perform deeper analysis to the startups that you find mostly relevant or mostly interesting to solve the problem you're having or to answer the question you need. Finally, in order to have a decision and to pick up a winner, after performing the deep analysis, you will need to compare the startups that you have performed the deep analysis at. And that's also, as I mentioned before, that's another interesting feature. As I said, you always have the ability to compare the startup here. So if you press in the compare button, you get to this page, and this is where you can compare the startups within all the business aspects within your startups. Scrolling down here, you get a lot of information about the country, description, creation date, stage, tags, and so on. Information about team and network, market and competition, product and technology, investment, and so on. A lot of information, and this is where, and the timeline of both startups. And this is how you can compare your startups or the startups that you find the mostly interesting in order to be able to pick finally a winner and to pick the startup that you would be collaborating with or partnering with. So this brings an end to my demonstration, and this was to show you how Skopai can accompany you through the 4 steps of the Open Innovation Program since the beginning until the end. Of course, the website is www.skopai.com. If you would like to have a free trial, please do not hesitate to get in contact. We would be happy to assist you. And if you would like to book a demo, you always have the ability to do that through the website. There is also the blog page on our website. That's where you can find a lot of interesting articles and blog posts about the startup ecosystem. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Mahmoud, a lot for presenting the platform. And now we have the questions answer session, and you are welcome to ask questions and to put your comments or feedback, comments, and questions that we will answer. So we will wait a couple of seconds for the first questions.
Okay, So we have a question. It is, how can users contact the startup they choose to try working with? So as I mentioned during the demonstration of the startups on the landscape, we always provide the information, the contact information of the company, and we always mostly also provide the founders and the executives information. So you would always on the left side or on the left side of the screen, as I was showing, you always have the ability to find the contact information, the email address, and the contact form, where you can directly press on the link, and it takes you directly to the contact form of the startup. And you also have the email of the contact email of the startup. Another question that we have, it is what is the process of building a landscape, or how a landscape is built? So as I mentioned before, that we have our AI tool, which we call Alfred. The only thing that it requires some keywords that represent the technology or the market we would like to build the landscape at, and some of startup examples. This is how we feed our AI tool, and this is where it crawls the web, and it crawls our database, and it comes up with relevant results to build a landscape by only giving some keywords and startup examples.
Another question. There is a lot of bars in this industry. Are you providing promotional info or real and verified info on the startups? This is, in fact, very relevant question, particularly for startups and innovative companies that have a lot of media all around, and not all information may be verified or true. So in the platform, we provide the objective information. So the information that is verified, it's collected with machine learning and AI algorithm, and verified with the team of innovation experts. Also, we provide for each piece of information the source that users can go in order to, if they would like to check, but also to get further information, for example, about the patent, or about the news related to fundraising or to partnership, for example. We have another question. Who is working with Skopai, and what other alternative do they have, if any? So we can divide three types of applications, so use cases. This is large companies that are searching for startups, for innovations to advance their R&D department or open innovation programs. The second is investors that are looking for also for startups and evaluate startups for investing purposes. And another like broad use case is everything related to following the innovation development of particular territory. So it's the government that can that are interested in tracking startups in order to see the innovation climate in its territory. So the alternatives. With regard to alternatives, of course, there is a big advantage of using data-driven startup scouting, and and as an alternative is using the manual searching for the startups. However, it is less efficient in terms of the number of startups, the relevance of information, and also the speed of information that users get, including the update on the startups. While the data-driven scouting allows to inform when, for example, fundraising events, if it happen, and the next or the same day, this information is available to the user.
So a question that we have, are you able to work with open innovation programs around the world or only based in Europe? So in fact, Skopai works with any company around the world. We can work in any open innovation program. As I mentioned before, our database includes startups worldwide, not only based in Europe. So we are very welcoming to any of the clients that we have that might be working from all over the world. And we, as I mentioned, our database includes all the startups or the startups from worldwide. Another question is the platform fully automated, or do you provide human assistance to your clients? So as I mentioned, that we have our AI tool, which we call Alfred. This is where this is all the Alfred usually crawls the web and finds a lot of information, and so many information about all the startups within our database. And it usually crawls the web for the startups and on the at-a-glance level. So we provide the landscape creation and the information about the at-a-glance level of the level of information within the landscapes are fully automated. But we give the human assistance when it comes to the DTIs, or the deep tech insights. When when the clients request us for deeper analysis of the startups and to get more information, this is where the human comes in, and this is where we provide the human assistance to our clients.
Thank you for the interesting questions. So we have answered to all the questions we have received for today's webinar session. And we would like to thank you again for your interest in the topic of open innovation, and to remind that we will send the slides after the webinar, so you will receive the slides of the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.